confidence in our Goldman Research House view that the US and the global economy are on track for a soft landing has increased further over the last few months, both because of resilient activity data, especially in the US, but also many emerging markets, and the fact that inflation is now coming down, suggesting to us that the Fed is now done hiking. How's that showing up in our oil demand forecasts? Our oil demand forecasts show pretty firm growth. We now think that oil demand reached an all-time high in July, and the firm global activity data are showing up in the demand forecast, both because of strong high-frequency demand data. For instance, in May, U.S. oil demand reached the highest level ever for the month of May, and through our models for demand, where GDP is the main driver of oil demand growth. And we think that growth will continue to be strong this year, with growth really coming from emerging markets, including places like India, also the Middle East, a seasonal boost from travel demand in the OECD. And then if you break it down by sector, it's really coming from the services sector, which continues to expand.
ولكن دان، كيف يمكننا الحديث عن مستويات قياسية عليا من الطلب العالمي على النفط في حين أن التعافي الصيني ما يزال ضعيفا وبعيدا كل البعد عما كان مأمولا؟ بحسب بعض البيانات الطلب الصيني على النفط في النصف الأول من العام نما بحوالي 1.1 مليون برميل يوميا، وهذا بالمقارنة مع نفس الفترة من العام الماضي الذي كان فيه الطلب ضعيفا جراء نتيجة إغلاقات كورونا. الصين تمثل نحو 70% من نمو الطلب العالمي على النفط المتوقع من قبل وكالة الطاقة الدولية، والبالغ 2.2 مليون برميل يوميا. فما هي توقعاتكم للطلب الصيني في النصف الثاني من هذا العام؟
So I would argue that China oil demand has been pretty solid and more solid than the overall Chinese economy, which is being dragged down by weakness in the property sector and weakness in the manufacturing export sector. However, we estimate that 70% of oil demand is really driven by the services sector, and Chinese citizens are driving, they're flying domestically, and oil demand we think is up by around 1.25 million barrels per day since the fourth quarter of last year. From here, we see an additional 300 kbd of sequential growth from current levels. You're currently around 60 million barrels per day. We think we will end 2024 around 16.3, 16.4 million barrels per day. So solid growth out of China, but most of the growth we think is behind us, as mobility, especially driving, is pretty much back to normal levels in China.